There is nothing that boils my blood more than douchey scam artists who try to take advantage of fresh freelancers hungry to begin their entrepreneurial journey. In this video, I'm exposing 6 common freelancing red flags to watch out for so you can get paid and not played. Hey guys, it's Alex, and this week I'm addressing a growing concern in the freelancing community when it comes to landing jobs on common marketplaces like Fiverr and Upwork. Yes, I am talking about freelancing scams. They are not exclusive to copywriters by any means, but it has affected some copywriters I know, including one of the students inside my Copy Posse Launch Pad. And if you mess with one of my students, you mess with me. So to help keep you guys safe while running your businesses online, I'm recording this video to share 6 major red flags to watch out for while navigating freelancing gigs. Now, we are all aware that working from home has fast become the norm over the years, and especially in recent months since the pandemic has put most of us on lockdown. And I am sure I don't need to convince you of the perks and benefits of running a freelance copywriting business from your laptop. It is the best job in the world after all, and that's why I'm committed to sharing the techniques, tools, and tutorials you need to start and scale your business with crazy good copywriting, branding, and marketing. So if you're brand new to the crew, go ahead and subscribe to my channel by clicking the button below and ring that bell to be notified when my next video goes live. I keep it fresh every single week, and coming up very soon, I'll be covering 2 requested topics from my global posse. The first, a day in the life of a copywriter, and the second, how to do a sales page copy critique. All right, and now back to today's topic. When it comes to sourcing gigs and landing new clients, notable platforms like Fiverr and Upwork are great for finding work, especially at the beginning of your freelance career before you start getting jobs by referral. However, these giant platforms are also notorious feeding grounds for online scam artists looking to take advantage of new and naive freelancers. Many freelancers out there have fallen victim to these scams and have been defrauded of thousands of dollars, and often not in one-shot transactions, but comprehensive schemes that drag on for weeks or even months at a time. To make matters even worse, since the COVID-19 pandemic, these scammers have been on the rise. According to a report by NBC News, in the US alone, the AARP fraud tip hotline has been receiving over 100 more calls a day than it did before the pandemic. So it is extremely important that while you work on building your freelancing business, you also supercharge your intuition and practice due diligence to make sure that the job you land is legit, and more importantly, that you get paid and not played. So here they are, 6 red flags to watch out for when looking for a job as a freelancer. Red flag number 1, it sounds too good to be true. Yes, the thrill and excitement that comes from a job opportunity, so charming that you forget reality for a hot second. Now, I am not poking fun at anyone who has been through this. I myself have fallen for clients that have totally overpromised and under-delivered, even though fortunately none of them turned out to be actual scammers. But when you see a high-paid ad for simple work, go ahead and be on guard. Granted, there are nuances to this scenario. For example, it could mean that the client simply wants quality work. It could mean that the job involves time-consuming research or the kind of wisdom that only someone with years of experience can do. But if they're offering a suspiciously generous rate from the get-go without clearly offering the scope or illustrating the kind of experience they require in detail, as the old maxim goes, it's probably too good to be true. This actually happened to one of my students. Fortunately, she didn't end up losing any money, but she did waste a lot of time doing the actual work and jumping through hoops. And that is time that she could have spent working on a legit project and actually getting paid. So the client boasted that they'd pay her $1 per word for content, putting the project at over $2,500. Her intuition told her that it might be too good to be true, but she was excited about getting her first client after graduating from my copywriter coaching program. Enter red flag number 2, unusual payments. After doing the work, the client then sent my student a check for double the amount of the project quote, claiming that they were paying in advance for a potential second phase of the project. What? That never happens, especially without first talking about the potential of more work. So she got the check, she put it in her bank account, she assumed it was clear and all good, money in the bank, cha-ching. But then the client suddenly decided that they were just gonna cancel that imaginary second phase of the project after all and asked my student to wire them back the extra cash. That's when the alarm bell rang. She spent hours on the phone with her bank, only to find out that the check was fraudulent. Thankfully, she didn't end up wiring any money back to them because she was smart enough to investigate first. But take this as a cautionary tale. In other cases, the scammer might send you a larger payment and it actually clears. Then they'll request for you to send the extra balance back to a third person under the pretense of wanting to simplify paperwork or documentation. And chances are that money came from a stolen credit card or a hacked account. And then you're the one who has fraudulent money in your bank, and you're the one that has to deal with the report, the lawyers, the paperwork, and the headache. So it's simple, guys. If the client doesn't send you the exact amount on your invoice, investigate. Ask questions. Make sure the check, the transfer, the wire actually clears before any further work is promised or the money is sent back. Although in my decade of writing copy, I have never had a client accidentally overpay me. It just doesn't happen. All right, red flag number 3, large test projects. So it's a common practice for a client to ask for a portfolio sample before they decide whether or not to hire you. And in some cases, they may ask you to complete a brief test for free to gauge whether or not you'd be a fit for their brand. Now, while online marketplaces like Fiverr and Upwork don't actually allow for this because it is asking for free work, it's something that many businesses do when referred to freelancers and writers outside of these channels. To avoid ever devaluing a freelancer's work, I always offer a discounted fee for copy tests so that even if I don't end up hiring that particular writer, they are still paid for their time and their work. With that being said, doing free test projects can in fact lead to paid work and a mutually beneficial long-term client relationship. As long as, and this is very important, as long as the test is reasonable, like a single ad, email, graphic, or video clip. If the test project is something really heavy, like a huge chunk of the actual project they're considering you for, be wary. You might end up doing a ton of work only to have the client come back to you and say, sorry, we've decided to go with somebody else. And then next thing you know, you see a slightly refined version of your work published online. So be smart about how much work you're willing to do for free. And I will say it is an entirely different situation if you are the one approaching a dream client and offering to do the work for free. In that scenario, you're the one with the offer and you can decide how much or how little you're willing to do in exchange for the experience and a possible invitation for a paid project. All right, red flag number 4, cutting out the middleman. Platforms like Upwork and Fiverr are huge for a reason. They've invested a ton of money and resources into creating a sophisticated and secure communication and payment system. They've made it painfully simple for you to liaise with your client from start to finish on a project, completely removing the need for you to exchange email addresses, personal contact details, or bank info. And let's be honest, if this is the first time you're working with a client, it's the best way to do business. It protects both you and them from potentially fishy behavior. So I highly recommend you keep comms and payment on the native platform you're using until you've established an ongoing and trusted relationship with your client. It makes it easier to file complaints and report abuse if things do go south. When you take things outside the platform, you run the risk of a potential scammer getting access to your private details through the guise of sending you payment or verifying your identity. And you lose the official paper trail for the platform's customer support team to actually assist you in resolving your case. So just stay in the system, guys, until you develop a strong working relationship with a client. And if you do decide to take it outside, use a separate email address for your business instead of one that you use for your banking and other personal, private, and financial matters. Red flag number 5, no online presence or reviews. You'd be surprised by how many of us tend to totally trust strangers and skip even the simplest act of investigation like a Google search. Are they who they say they are? Listen, I'm an inherently trusting person and I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but when it comes to online strangers who can easily hide behind the veil of anonymity, I do my due diligence. It can be really easy to trust a stranger when they communicate eloquently, are friendly and polite, and have a story to tell that really yanks the heartstrings. Hey, scammers can be good copywriters too, so even more reason to be careful. They have probably run this racket so many times that they know exactly what to do and say to make you ignore your gut for just a hot second. But one of the best ways to tell whether a client is legit is just see if they have an online presence. Is their profile completed? Do they have any reviews? Granted, they could be brand new to the freelancing platform you're using, so in that case, do they have an official website or any social media platforms that have activity and engagement? If the client's profile only has a name but no website or address, that is a huge red flag. So it is always super helpful to just do a quick Google search, guys. In this day and age, nobody is a complete ghost online unless they don't exist by the name they're giving you. Red flag number 6, refusing to sign a contract. Now, it may seem petty to use a contract for a $500 job, but if you're dealing with a client for the very first time, it really shouldn't be a big deal for them to agree to sign a freelancer contract or a statement of work. Unless you know the client well, have worked with them before, and are 100% sure they will pay you, always, and I mean always, get the project signed, sealed, delivered. All aspects of the job, from the payment to the scope to the timeline, should be laid out before the work starts so that you can not only prevent yourself from getting scammed, but also prevent scope creep. Now, if you want my free statement of work template that you can download and customize to use for your own projects, you can get that by clicking the link in the description below. And if your potential client doesn't agree to sign it, say sayonara and move on, all right? Now give me a thumbs up below if you found this video helpful. As always, I would love to hear from you, so drop your comments, video suggestions, and questions below. Remember, I am here for you guys. It has been a doozy of a year, but our industry has not faltered or slowed down. So as long as you add value, lead with integrity, and stay smart, you have got this. There are so many incredible businesses out there looking for brilliant writers like you. And if you want to learn the best way to onboard new clients, I share my own 6-step client induction process in my video on how to make new clients fall in love with you. You can watch that next by clicking right here. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I will be back next week with a brand new video. Until then, I'm Alex. Ciao for now.